In your bio, you have written R.I.P. Mom and R.I.P. Dad. Care to share your current age?
19.
What's the story behind that?
Alright, so it's really a line of events. So I'm gonna go through them, in a timely manner. Um, when I was 17, my father he was diagnosed with COVID-19. The symptoms they were coming rapidly, and like I really didn't understand like the seriousness of it because the pandemic was just now starting. So I didn't really understand like how serious it was. So I just knew just to be a good son and be there for my father. So while he was going through all them phases, I was there, watching him lose his breath, watching, just like it's hard to really like, recollect all my thoughts on the situation. But yeah, and at the time, my mother, she was recovering from stage 3 sarcoma cancer. That's a rare form of cancer. They come in tumors. And as she was recovering, I had to take care of her while my father was going through. And, you know, the COVID, it got worse on him. So I had to, at 17 years old, I had to do everything I could to make sure my father was as comfortable as he could, like as he could be. Put him in a vehicle. I took him to the best hospital I could take him to. And yeah, and after that, he passed away, sadly. And my mother, she was dealing with after my father passed away, she was recovering from cancer. So that was good, but um when I went to school, she gave me a call in in October, my freshman year of college. She gave me a call and she was just letting me know how the cancer came back, how it came back worse. And at that point, I just been like had to beat up for my mother, bouncing back and forth from school, driving back and forth from school, take care of my mother, make sure she was as comfortable as she could be dealing with stage 4 cancer. And sadly, this year on July 5th, she passed.
Now, in regards to both of these stories, and we're going to dissect and get detailed here in a second, any other description about in relation to these stories before I start?
Mm.
You referenced a college here. What college were you attending at the time?
NIU, Northern Illinois University.
And when it came to your mother's cancer coming back again, was this the same exact cancer that she fought before?
Mm-hmm.
So, in essence, she had beat it, and then it came back.
And it came back worse.
Now, let's start with your father that passed away first. Do you know how he caught COVID-19 back then?
So my father, he's a minister, a pastor. So at church, I guess on one of the Sundays, somebody who had it ain't say nothing about it, and I guess he contracted it that way. And then after he contracted it, everything just been going downhill since then.
Do you remember what age he was at the time when he caught it?
He was 40. How old was my pops, man? He was like
Rough estimate, if you can.
he was like 43, 43, 44.
And for time reference, it's October 2021 now. You have somebody signaling here to the side of you.
Yeah. Yeah, 43.
47.
He's 47. Yeah, my pop's 47.
This person that is voice that's in this interview that's off camera, care to share who he is?
Yeah, this is my brother.
Biological or
Yeah, my biological brother.
younger, older?
Older.
And what's the difference in age?
We 5 years apart.
Same mother, same father?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what was your father's race, ethnicity, nationality?
My father was African American.
Did he have any prior health issues to COVID?
My father was a diabetic. He had pains, like he was dealing with something called neuropathy. So he often had pains through his hands and his feet.
And did you get any of that passed down to you?
No, not that I know of. No,
Okay.
I'm healthy.
When he caught COVID-19, the coronavirus, were vaccinations prevalent at that time or no?
No. Nope.
So this was before then.
Mm-hmm.
He had to be put on a respirator and breathing machine.
Put him on ventilation.
From the time he caught it to the time he passed away, how long do you think he was battling that?
He was battling COVID for about like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks.
Were you able to visit him or see him in the hospital in any sort of capacity?
No, they ain't allowed me in there.
So how was the news delivered to you?
Well, on March 30th, my mom, this was like an early morning, my mom was crying, and I heard the cry. And I went upstairs to go see what was wrong. She told me that, your daddy dying. And that's how I was made aware of the situation.
So when you couldn't visit him, were you able to talk to him on the phone at all?
He was on ventilation. His breathing got too bad.
Couldn't even see him on FaceTime or something of that nature?
The last time I saw my father was in a Zoom call. He was on the table. And then we was talking to the funeral home, and they was showing us, That's the last time I seen him.
So the funeral was done through Zoom?
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
It was hell. It was screaming everywhere in the house. His sisters were screaming all over the call. Like it was, but to see him like that on the table for my last time seeing him, that shit ain't fit for nobody for real.
Now, he was a pastor at this church, and care to share the name of the church, or?
No, yeah, for sure. It was an old Friendship Missionary Baptist Church.
Was there, at the time, was your father at all hesitant about going back to church during the pandemic? Was that something that he was scared to go do, didn't want to do for maybe because he had underlying health conditions, or he was getting older in age, or that sort of thing? Was that something he was against doing?
Mm-mm. No, my father, he was always the type of man that he pressed through any issue. So whatever was going on in his body, he oppressed. But this certain issue about COVID was attacking his body different. You know what I mean? Like it was attacking his body different. So he really didn't want to come around nobody if he had a speculation of I have COVID. He didn't want to come around other people. So
Was he taking the best precautions he could at the time when this happened?
yeah. He was quarantining. He quarantined himself from me and my mother. He used to stay in the room. He didn't really come out like that. I had to come up there and check on him, make sure he was cool. But the last time I was able to take care of him before he died, I was able to.
How'd you know he had to go be seen at a hospital at that time? How'd you know, okay, you catch COVID, but now we got to take you to the hospital? How did you know it was that critical?
So I went to his room, went to go check on him, and his breathing was very bad. Like it was like some shit I ain't never heard before. Like it was real life, like gasping for air. He couldn't really breathe. He couldn't really get no sentences out. And then once I saw that, I told him like, Pops, I gotta take you to the hospital.
Are you able to, and I'm respectfully asking you this, are you able to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Elaborate?
No, are you able to demonstrate, or are you able to kind of, it's a word that starts with a R, not recreate, but kind of like, are you able to demonstrate what that breathing had sounded like, or, what it, at all? I don't know if you're able to kind of do that or not.
No, I can't really demonstrate it. I can't really demonstrate it myself, but it was just like just picture somebody gasping for air, like trying to take their last breaths, but they still trying to talk to you though.
And the reason why I'm asking is just because there may be somebody watching this that wants to know, okay, when is the right time to take or what are those signs or symptoms that it's critical we need to take a loved one or themselves to the hospital, or get picked up by an ambulance or something of that nature. Did you catch it at all during that time?
Yeah, I actually did. Yeah.
And you think you caught it from him?
Mm-hmm.
When did you catch it in the midst of all this?
Shortly after I took him to the hospital. So after I took him to the hospital, I started feeling like the symptoms like through my nose, and I couldn't really taste nothing like that.
You lost your sense of taste. What about your smell?
Yeah, I lost that too.
What about him?
He lost all that.
Did anybody else in the house catch it besides you two?
I believe my mother had it. I believe she had it, but I can't really tell.
excuse me, for you, did you have any underlying health issues at the time when you got it?
No.
And how long did you end up having it for as well?
I had it for about like 3 weeks at the most.
For you, what was the worst symptom you experienced with it?
My nose, like a burning nose, like a burning sensation through my nose.
Did you eventually get your taste and smell back?
Mm-hmm.
How long did that take?
It took like a month.
Did you get them back at the same time, or did you get one over the other?
It's like one apart. So like one sensor come back and then the other one come back later.
Which one for you came back?
My taste came back first.
What do you think your key to survival of COVID-19 was personally? Looking back at how everything played out.
My key to survival through COVID-19 was just keeping my mask on. Keep your mask on, social distance. At the time was really like being forced upon everybody, so just following the rules.
Now, you mentioned your father was quarantining himself, but there would be times you would check on him. Do you think when you checked on him, that's how you caught it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's your opinion on coronavirus now?
I feel like it has gotten better. It has gotten way better. I wish it could have happened quicker, you know. Like, I wish it could have happened way quicker. I wish it could have happened way quicker so it could save a lot of lives.
For transparency, I'm 6 feet away from you in this interview. I am masked up behind this camera. The person, which is your brother, off camera, he's also masked up as well. And I'm fully vaccinated. I did receive the Pfizer vaccine. And I'm saying that because there may be people watching this that can't see me behind the camera, don't know how close you and I are apart during the interview, and may be wondering, because you don't have a mask on in today's interview.
Sure.
But it's only 3 of us in the room, just for transparency, and you're the only one unmasked, but we are 6 feet apart. And I am vaccinated. What is your opinion on the vaccine?
I feel like it came too late. Like I do. I feel like it came too late, but it's working. I feel like it's working on the cause I'm vaccinated myself. So I feel like it's making a change for everybody. You know, like it's something.
Now, people have different opinions about the vaccine. People get, some people get it, some people don't. Some people have different reasons for why they are vaccinated. For you, what was it? What got you to go get vaccinated?
Just all the like everything that was going on. Like I just felt like I needed to get that done. That's something I need to be done.
So far, that you know of, have you had any issues with COVID since you've been vaccinated?
No.
Care to share which type of vaccination you got?
I got Pfizer.
Your brother is to the side of us in the interview. I don't know if you want to answer this question or not, but what about your vaccination status?
No.
Not vaccinated. Do you care to get on camera as far as your voice and say why or why not?
No, this not even about me. It's about my mother.
Okay. I'm just trying to be transparent, just kind of gauge your opinion if you wanted to chime in, but that's okay. Okay. Let's talk about your mother here. When your mother beat cancer initially, did doctors say this could come back?
Mm-hmm. So her cancer started off in her arm, her right arm. There was a tumor there, so she went to go get it checked out. They basically told her, if we was to remove the tumor, we gonna place you on chemotherapy. And after we place you on chemotherapy, you should see the effects of it. Like it shouldn't come back. But eventually, they started telling, like, the story started to change. You know what I mean? Like they started telling her, like, there's a possibility it could come back. And they wanted to amputate her right arm because that's where the tumor started. So the plan was to amputate her arm. Cancer don't come back. You have no worries. But my mom, she went like my mom, she ain't, no, she ain't want to do nothing like that.
How long before it actually comes back?
It took like after she recovered, it took like 2 or 3 months before it came back. After she recovered, cause she
How
made a full recovery.
how was it rediscovered again?
She started having pain in her back. Like she started having real bad back pain, and she didn't really understand where it was coming from. And she made my brother aware of that as well. And she just made that move. Went to the hospital, and they told her that she had a fractured spine. That she fractured her spine. There was a tumor growing on her spine, and it was like piercing through her spine. So that's how she found out it came back.
And that was directly correlated from the tumor
From
that
her
happened
arm.
in the arm?
Mhm.
It spread? Is that what happens? Now, again, might have some tough questions for you in regards to this, but respectfully, I ask you, do you think if she would have gotten her arm amputated, this would have ever happened?
Yeah, sometimes I think like that. Like sometimes I try to, you know, yeah, I do. But I know that would have killed my mama way more than cancer. Cause my mom, she was a well upkept woman. She didn't really, she didn't want to come around with one arm. You know what I mean? Like that's something that my mom ain't want nobody to see her like that. So yeah, but I believe if she would have got it amputated, she'd still be a.
This cancer that your mother has, is this something that runs in your family at all?
No, that's some shit I ain't. That's some shit we ain't never seen. Like you feel me? That's shit we ain't never seen.
Because this doesn't run in your family, were doctors able to pinpoint how she got this?
No, they was even kind of puzzled. They was kind of puzzled themselves because this is a rare form of cancer. She has sarcoma. Like there's not really nothing that people really hear.
When they did find it, was when she had the back issue and they find that tumor, that fracture hurts her spine,
Mhm.
uh, was it correlated with a certain stage at that point?
At that point, once the cancer spread to another body part, they consider it stage 4.
Ah,
So once it spread, it don't matter where it go. You know what I mean?
and I believe you said the initial time she had cancer with the tumor in the arm, it was stage 3 when it was caught?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to having a family member that has cancer, how do you cope with that while they're trying to battle this?
Just doing everything to keep your mind off of it. Like just whatever you do, just do everything you can to keep your mind off the situation, because it will eat you alive if you don't do something. If you don't talk to nobody, if you don't really express yourself, it's gonna eat you alive.
What was your role as she was battling cancer twice?
My role, like as far as in what, like,
In
like,
regards to her, did you serve any role as she was battling this?
oh yeah, I was a right hand man. You know what I mean? Like I was a right hand man. I was there every step of the way, getting up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning when she got to go to radiation appointments to try to fight this thing. My brother was there, you know. So I was a right hand man. My mom became my best friend after my pops left. So I was always, I was there. I was on it. You got to take your medicine, you know.
When you were attending college, were you still living at home at the time with her?
No, I was in college. Like I was staying on campus, but whenever something happened, I drove right back home. Whenever
How,
something happened.
how far, relatively speaking, was campus to where she was at the
I was
time?
15.
So when you said there would be times 3, 4 in the morning you'd be there, was that before you went off to college or?
That's during college, before college, during break, it's whatever.
Mm. Is this a role that she asks you for your help or you take it
No,
upon yourself to do?
take it upon myself. It's my mama.
What's the hardest thing to deal with this experience?
Oh, having to bury your parents. Well, I didn't have to bury my father. My father's request was to be cremated. So whenever I got like on birthdays or Father's Day, Mother's Day, shit like that. Whenever something like that approach, or like going back to school. If I got to go back to school, I'll walk past and see everybody with their parents outside, helping to move in, shit like that. No, I don't got that no more. Like, people can go home, they can go home on breaks, you know what I mean? They got them big meals and shit like that. My mama used to cook for me and shit like that. My dad too. I don't got that shit no more. So that shit hurt the most when you can't. It's just values, like it's values, shit like that. Like it's real life shit that people take for granted that they don't realize is like real life, something good. And once it's gone, it's gone.
How do you personally cope when these things come up?
I rap. I go in the studio. I write lyrics. I write how I feel.
And we'll speak about that in a little bit. But I do want to wrap these questions up about your mother. Just sifting through my notes here. Okay. When it comes to your mother, and she passed away, obviously she passed away during the pandemic,
Mm.
during COVID-19 era and the coronavirus. When she's in those last days, was it similar to your father, where you couldn't go to the hospital, you couldn't speak to her or see her through video?
Oh, not at all. I was able to see her in person. So this is when everything started kind of like dying down a little bit with COVID. Vaccines out, so restrictions are starting to be let up a little bit. So I was able to go in and visit my mother, see how she was doing in the hospital.
Were you there for her last breath?
Like a day before her last breath, I was there.
Do you remember the last time you spoke to her before she passed?
Yeah, I remember everything. I was just sitting there talking to her, and I was letting her know that she was a great mother. She did everything she could for her kids. She took care of us. And we ain't always have money, like all the time. We ain't always have no money, so she always take us to the thrift store, and I make little jokes with her, like you was the greatest mama taking us to the thrift store and stuff like that, and we'd laugh, joke. Yeah.
What was that convo like the last time you spoke to her?
It fucked me up. After I spoke to her, I went in the bathroom. I couldn't even breathe. I couldn't believe the shit I was saying, because my mother aged. Like, if you understand what I'm saying, she went from a nice looking woman to old, just like that, like quick, like it.
Did you say what age she was when she passed in this interview?
Nah, that's her.
Care to share what age she was when she passed?
How old? I was how old, G?
She was 40. I would have been 46.
So
A healthy 46, what did she look like age-wise, if you were able to, saying she looked old in age and she looked like she was older because of the cancer, if you were able to gauge it, what did she look like as
you would
far
think
as
my mom was in her 30s. Yeah. You would think she was in her 30s. She ain't had no cancer. Another that situation, you would think she was in her 30s.
when she was in her last days, what age did she look like?
Like 70. I ain't gonna lie. Like 70 years old.
The last conversation you have with her, was it a good conversation? Did you leave on a good note?
Yeah, I feel like I should have said more, like express myself, but at the moment I couldn't really like gather my mind like that for real. So, but no.
Did you know that would be the last time you would speak to her?
Nah, my faith was too strong that I ain't want to believe the shit. So my faith was real life, Like, I thought my mom was gonna pull it through.
Did doctors say these were her last days?
They told her that, and after they told her that, she gave me a call, and she asked the doctors, like, is these like my last days? Like, are these my last days? And they let her know, like, yeah. They just told her. So after that, she called me, and it's crazy because usually when they tell her like some shit like that, she'll cry and break down. This time she ain't cry. So I knew this time she was ready to leave for real.
Looking back when it came to your father, your mother, did you feel like you did everything you could in your power?
I did everything I could at 17. There's not many 17-year-olds that have to take care of like their parents. And I'm not saying like people go through worse situations than mine, but at 17 years old, I did everything I could for them. I did literally everything I could.
Nothing you look back and regret and say, man, I could have done this. I should have
Yeah,
done that.
yeah. Some shit like yeah. My mom used to ask me when she was going through real bad. She used to ask me like, as long as you come up here and lay with me, like you lay down with me and shit like that. Me, I'm like, I'm dealing with like the shit was eating me alive, man. That shit was eating me alive. I couldn't even lay with her. I couldn't do it.
Being that you were 17, were you still attending high school or had you already graduated?
Yeah, I graduated my senior year. I graduated.
Was there any chance of you dropping out or not being able to graduate, just dealing with maybe the first time she got cancer or things of that nature?
No, see, like I played football, so my coach, I give like big thanks to my coach. He always stayed, like he always stayed in my and kept my father too. My father was there before I graduated. Before I graduated, he was there. On my graduation, he wasn't. He already passed. But like going through senior year of high school, when my mom first got cancer, my father he still like he was, you know, he made me. He just made me a man. Like that's what come with it, son. You gotta persevere through it all. So I was pushing through it. I was still getting good grades and everything.
So we have been building a chronological order here. So just for timestamps, just maybe for a little bit more transparency, are you able to detail it like this? So when your mother first gets cancer for the first time and beats it, what grade were you at the time through that experience? Were you in 11th grade? Were you in 12th grade?
I was a senior when she was recovering. I was a senior.
Okay.
So I done already. Yeah, I was a senior. Yeah.
When your father catches COVID, were you still in high school at the time?
Yeah. This is when they put everything online in high school. So yeah.
Okay. So you weren't physically attending high school.
COVID got too bad.
Ah, I see. Okay, got you. So your mother's recovering. You're still doing high school homework and things of that nature online.
Yep.
Your father's going through COVID. Did you technically already graduate?
No, I was still going through the online.
Okay, when he passes?
Mhm.
And then you finish up school and then you graduate and he wasn't there.
Mhm. My mother was there. She was the only one there.
When your mother gets the cancer to come back again into her life, you were freshman in college at that point? Okay. I'm just trying to align everything
No, you
here.
understand.
Just for the audience. When it comes to your mother's funeral, was it a, relatively speaking, regular, normal funeral like it would have been pre-COVID, or were there some?
No, there was some regulations. So we had like a private funeral with real close family, real close friends, and we decided to do that because people was making like little death threats to my mom, like sending her little text like, like you gonna die, shit like that. They was sending her text like that. So we decided to make it a private funeral. If there wasn't any COVID, it would have been like, it would have been regular,
What did the death threat stem from?
It came like through like little text messages. People were sending it through like little text now apps, shit like that. One of real numbers, and they'll tell her like like that you gonna die, like you ain't gonna beat this. And my mom she used to tell me and show me and shit like that. And it used to like it used to anger me for real. Like it used to, like yeah.
But who? I mean, I don't know if you know who was sending it or not, but who was targeting her with these threats?
Can't even tell you that because I don't know myself. I don't know.
You have no idea why she was getting these threats.
No idea.
How would she cope with it?
She would cry and she'd tell, she'd tell her kids. She'd talk to me about it. And I'll tell her, don't pay attention to none of that. Everything gonna be fine.
Was safety a worry? Was
Yeah.
safety an issue?
Nah, that ain't no issue. But you know, like for my mom and shit like that, ain't no issue. Nothing. Ain't no issue with my mom. No.
Was that your first funeral ever for you?
Nah. I've been to so many funerals.
Some people don't go to funerals. Some people stop going to funerals. What's your stance on funerals?
Funerals are more like for the family, so like in remembrance. It should like it's fucked up, but it should be considered as a celebration in a way. But nah, you can't really. It's hard to look at it like that on this side.
Has there ever been a funeral that you didn't go to or that you didn't attend?
Nah, I've been to every funeral that I've been to a whole lot of them. So
Did you speak at this funeral?
Hmm?
Did you speak at her funeral?
no, I couldn't. I couldn't even go up to the casket.
When it came to paying for the funeral, how was that done?
No, it was handled.
Something you have to chip in on?
No,
Okay.
I ain't had to take it.
Now, you mentioned music is something that helps you cope with this stuff. Have you gotten any professional help with coping with the deaths of your mother or your father?
I tried. I got a therapist after my mom died that she helped me out with before she died. So I got me a therapist. And I tried to do the sessions and shit like that. It was working for a minute, but over time, like depression started eating me. So I felt like it wasn't working. Like it wasn't really nothing nobody could tell me the thing go through themselves at my age.
So music, you tried the professional route. Any other ways of dealing with the depression? Any other ways of dealing with this entire experience?
Nah, like music, my everything, man, everything.
Didn't resort to drugs?
Nah, hell, nah, I ain't even gonna lie. Yeah, I have, I did. I started smoking every day, like real heavy. After my mom like that, I started smoking heavy. I started sipping a little bit, Just try to escape reality for a minute. That's all. But I ain't gonna let that shit take me over though.
Are you addicted to either of those items?
Nah,
When you say smoking, is it tobacco? Is it marijuana? Is it something else?
marijuana.
And when it came to marijuana, that was recreational,
Yeah,
not medical, not
No.
medically prescribed to you in this incident.
no.
When you were getting professional help, did they prescribe you any medication?
Nah, they tried to consider it, like, because of the circumstance, they tried to consider that shit, but I was like, nah, I don't want to get hooked on that feeling,
When it comes to depression, as you described, were you professionally diagnosed with depression, or?
Nah, I just know,
Okay.
like what come with the shit, you gonna be depressed, like that's just gonna.
How many different professionals did you see during that time when you saw help?
I talked to like 3 people, like 3 professionals.
And what age were you at the time?
I was 18.
What did they say about your music? Was that something they were aware of that you were doing?
Yeah. One of them was real cool, and we connected about it. We was talking about music and all. It's a track I got called 5th of July. It's describing the line of events what happened with my mother and everything. And he was blown away. The therapist was blown away about it. And he had nothing but great feedback. He told me that, keep scheduling these sessions so we can, talk about it.
This professional, was he encouraging you to keep doing music to cope with
Mhm.
this? Were they saying that was okay for you to do?
Mm-hmm. He encouraged me.
Now, I know you stopped getting professional help, but I do want to throw some questions on maybe why this didn't work for you, just to see if this is any relevance here. Could you have seen the wrong person?
That could be what it could be, but my mom, she helped me like pick one of the first one my mom helped me pick. So that one was actually like, like fully, but I could have seeked like better, like, better professionals, but like the people I was talking to was pretty professional.
Could it have been that you weren't mature enough to
Yeah.
handle
Yeah.
a session of that nature at the age you
Mhm.
were at the time?
Yeah.
When it comes to the deaths of your mother and your father, what did that teach you? What did you learn from that, if anything?
It's perseverance. Like you gotta keep going no matter what's going on. You gotta continue to keep, elevating. Cause life, that shit don't stop. So whatever you going through, whatever hard times you going through, you gotta like continue to push through that shit, no matter what. Just keep going.
I didn't get a chance to ask you this earlier when we were talking about your mother, but when it comes to this rare form of cancer, I know they weren't able to pinpoint how she got it, but was there any way to get this discovered any quick? I know it was discovered initially when it was in its third stage, when she had it in her arm.
Mhm.
Could this have been discovered earlier before it got to that late of a stage? Was there
Oh,
anything that could have been done to prevent that cancer from even
no, like
happening to her?
I really don't even know, bro. Like,
And I'm just throwing you all the questions I can in
yeah.
regards to this. So, when it comes to the deaths of both of your parents, sometimes a person can feel very cold, negative, maybe into a feeling of a savage or savagery after experiencing one death, let alone two like yourself here. And some can feel strong, positive, motivated after. How did you, where do you think you stood after experiencing both of your parents' deaths?
After my father, after he passed, I was hurt, but I still had my mother, so she kept me motivated to like keep going. Your father watching down on you, everything cool. But after my mother died, like my motivation, all that shit went out the window. Like everything went out the window. So I'm still like, it's still fresh on me because she died this year, 5th of July. So I'm still trying to, you know, find myself still, stay on the right track.
We'll talk about the music here in a second, but I want to finish wrapping up questions about your mother and your father. Let's talk about your father first because he passed away first. When it comes to your father, what do you miss the most about him?
Miss his yelling. I miss him yelling at me and shit. Like, 'cause I was always getting in trouble with somebody always calling him something. Like I'm always in trouble. Him yelling at me that constructive, like that's the shit that a young man from Chicago need. That really don't have that shit like that. That's why everybody, should be crazy. But you know, like like me having that father, like that father figure always on my ass about shit, kept me like on the right path.
Did you
So
grow up, excuse me, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
no, that's it. No,
Did you grow up under the roof of both of your parents together?
mm-hmm.
They never split?
Nah.
When it comes to your father, do you have a favorite memory of him you'd like to share with us today?
I got a whole lot of memories, but I gotta think. I gotta think a little bit. But
Is there one that sticks out that, out of all the different memories you may have of him, that you want to share?
I'm trying to think of some real like.
Take your time.
I'm trying to think of some shit like Hmm.
Favorite memory you have of your father you want to share with us today?
Man. Oh yeah, I do. I got some little funny. So, first time, my freshman year of high school, I started smoking weed. I started like trying to fill out what I'm fucking with. So I started smoking weed. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning because I got them early classes at school like 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'm smoking. I got my little Dutch and shit. I'm in the backyard smoking. And I come in the house. I'm thinking like ain't shit gonna happen. I'm thinking I'm cool and shit like that. My dad like I smell some weed. shit like that. He like, I smell some weed. And nah. I'm like, motherfuckers probably outside smoking next door and shit like that. They ain't got shit to do with me. So then it started, like, the smell, I guess, started getting real strong and shit like that. You know, I get in the car, he finna take me to school and shit like that. He looked me in my face, he grabbed me, he told me, tell me the truth. He told me, you been in the backyard smoking some weed? I'm high as hell looking him in his eyes. No. And I got away with that one. But yeah, that's one of my favorite memories of my pops.
Your eyes weren't red or anything?
I'm sure they was red. It's like my first time, like, you know, getting high by myself. Shit like that. I was high as hell, but like I kept it straight because my dad had that type of personality. Like, he'll make you, like, you could be high as hell, but he'll make you, like, straighten up, like, you know.
So do you think you really fooled him, or he just let you get away with that?
I don't know. Like, I don't know how the fuck I got away with that. To this day, I don't know how I got away with that.
Was he a smoker by any chance?
Nah. Mm, nah. He had glaucoma problems and shit like that, like cataracts. And after he passed, my sister said she found like a little duck or whatever by his bed. She fucking around with us. I don't know. But he ain't never let us know that shit, though. He ain't never let us know.
When it comes to your mother,
Mhm.
what do you miss the most about her? And you mentioned thrift store and stuff like that, so I don't know if that answers any of these questions that I'm about to ask of her. And if it does, that's okay. You can just repeat it. But what do you miss the most about your mother? Out of all the characteristics.
Cooking, man. Well, characteristics. Well, I miss her cooking. That's one of the things I miss the most. I miss her cooking. She cook her ass off. But I miss, like, the strength she had. She had a lot of strength dealing with the shit she was dealing with. So that strength kind of placed on her kids in a way. So I just missed the talks and the prayers that she used to have. Like, before I leave out, shit like that, she would grab my hand and pray with me. And I just miss all that. And the same thing, I know you already asked me about my pops, but that's another memory I miss about my pops too. He always grabbed my hands, and like, every morning with me, he'd just pray and pray to God, you know, protect me. Cause at the end of the day, I was still gonna do the shit. I was still gonna do what the fuck I wanted to do at the end of the day, sadly. But, you know, I just missed that praying for me to make sure I was on the right track.
When it comes to your mother's cooking, is there a certain dish?
Lemon meringue pie. She cook her ass off with some lemon meringue pie. So macaroni dressing, whatever you call it, whatever. She cook whatever.
When it comes to your favorite memory of your mother, did you answer that question already, or if not, do you have one?
Favorite memory of my
Favorite
mama?
memory of your mother you'd like to share with us today? I know you said thrift store stuff. I know you said praying and stuff, but I don't know if that answers this question or not.
Yeah, for sure. My favorite memory of my mama. Now, I like thinking of the funny shit. Like, you know, they keep me saying I like thinking of the funny shit instead of, like, you know. Well, damn, for some reason I can't even.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I can't even think of it right now, but I got a lot of good memories with my mama, though. I got a whole lot of them.
If it comes back during this interview, I mean, you can stop me and share. But after the death of both of your parents, did that change the direction of your music at all?
It actually helped me, like, in a way. It made me interlock with my feelings. It made me change what you like. It make you change what you rap about. So it kind of helped me lock in with my feelings and my true self for real. So it kind of, you know, helped me lock in.
You mentioned this song called July 5th.
5th of July.
Or 5th of July, I'm sorry. Was that song just entirely about your mother, or was that about your father as well?
Like, bits and pieces of my father was doing that, but I got a 7-minute song. I got a 7-minute song about my father. So, but 5th of July is solely about, you know, the stages of my mother cancer and the funeral, how I felt, you know. But I got a 7-minute song about the line of events with my father, describing everything.
Is that titled something?
It's called The Story.
Both of these songs are available if people want to hear this.
Not yet, but it's coming soon, though. Coming real soon.
Now, when it comes to both of these songs, I know they're not out yet, but when it came to the creation of these songs, was it spontaneous or premeditated? So, for example, did you tell yourself, okay, I want to make a song about my mother, I want to make a song about my father, or was it a beat maybe you heard and was like, okay, I wasn't thinking about making a song about them, but this beat has me open to doing so?
Right. So when I made the 5th of July, one of my close homies came up. It was him and my brother. They came up with the idea of, you know, you need to, lock in and talk about your mom. So he came up with the name 5th of July, and that just stuck with me. And I already had a beat in mind that I wanted to use for it that was real soulful, like to get the, audience attention so they can understand the pain. So I done already had an idea. So, my lyrics was, premeditated for that one. I wanted to really think like how I felt, so I wrote that down.
And what about the story?
The story, yeah, that was premeditated.
So, you want to create it, you find a beat for it, or you wait until you come across the beat and then create it?
I just write it out of my head. So like whatever flow I hear in my head, I'm gonna just, I'm gonna write it down. Then I find a beat that matched the flow. You know what I mean?
Was it emotional creating or recording either of these songs?
I tried to not let it get to that point where I'm crying at the mic and shit like that. I try not to let it get to that point, but it's not me physically crying, but it's like the inside of me crying on the mic. You know what I mean?
Do you capture those emotions on record? Do you record those emotions?
All the pain is in that song.
Were there vocal cracks, voice cracks? I mean, I know you weren't.
Yeah, couple.
And you capture all that as well.
All the pain, everything in it.
Was it a point where it was almost too much to finish?
Nah, I believe in finishing what I start. So I had to, no matter how I felt, no matter none of that, I had to finish them songs, and I did.
Now, again, we've been establishing a chronological order of events here in this interview, but how long after your mother passes? Well, first off, let me ask you this. Which song was created first?
5th of July was created first.
Okay. And then how long after that before the story?
It was like a month or two.
Okay. Relatively speaking here, when is the song created about your mother after her death?
This was actually before the funeral. This was like a week after her death. So I made it the day before the funeral. So I made half of the song about how I felt, and I wanted to capture how I felt. So I waited till the funeral because I wanted to see how I felt at the funeral before I write anything else. So after the funeral is when I finished the song, and then on that weekend I recorded it.
And then in regards to your father, how long is that song created after his death?
Man, because his storyline was real long. So that was like almost a year later. A year later after his death, that's when I created the story.
Now, how do you know the right time to create a song after someone passes away?
The right time to create it is when you really feel like that, like when you feel that emotion. Once you feel that emotion, it's just gonna all come out.
Is it ever too early to create a song after one passes, or too late to create a song after one passes?
Nah, never too early, never too late.
Have other families heard any of these songs yet?
I even made, I wouldn't say I made nobody cry, but it's a lot of people that have like heartfelt, because it's a lot of older people that lost their parents, and they can relate to it. They can't relate to like at the age I lost them, but they can relate to the fact that they have lost a parent, and I've made a lot of older people tear up.
Any plans to create a music video to either of these songs?
Yeah, all that coming soon. Everything coming soon.
When it comes to your parents, your mother or your father, did they do music themselves at all?
Yeah, they were great singers in church. My mom, she led the choir from time to time in songs. My father, he was a singer as well.
Did you ever get a chance to collaborate with them or incorporate them in your music at all?
Fucking wish, man. No.
Was that something that was ever talked about?
No. Well, yeah, like my like in 7th or 8th grade, I was telling them that I wanted to become a rapper and shit like that, because I was gonna try to rap back then, but it wasn't just clicking. It wasn't clicking like how I feel like it's gonna click now. But Um, they was the type of parents that was supportive or whatever, like whatever I decided to do. So, whatever you put your mind to, son, you could do it. And I told him I wanted to rap. And I used to go in my dad's room. He'd be like, spit something. And I spit a little something for him. He'd be like, all right, son, shit like that.
Did either of them have a song of yours they particularly enjoyed, a favorite song perhaps, or?
Because they wasn't even here long enough to hear that, sadly.
What do you think, and we're speaking hypothetically now, what do you think either of them would think of where you're at with your music career?
Well, I ain't where I'm like want to be yet. I'm not, I'm not no star, no shit like that. But I feel like they'd be proud of me right now because I'm still trying to persevere through everything, and even though despite them being gone, I'm still trying to, withhold the wish that my mom had, and the wish she had was to when I leave here, I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest out of my siblings. And she told me when she left here, take care of your siblings. And I think she'll be proud of me that I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that one day we gonna be well taken care of.
Now, we talked about the manner your father passed away was COVID-19, and you have done some precautionary measures since that passing of him, like getting the vaccine yourself and things of that nature, which we've already talked about. But because your mother has passed away from a rare form of cancer, are you doing anything in regards to your body or health to prevent not just that cancer, but any form of cancer because of what you've seen and experienced of her battling a cancer?
Right. Yeah. So I cut off on eating certain things. Like I stopped eating. Like I don't eat no beef. I don't eat no red meats. Just trying to take care of my health a little better. I need to. I've been working on trying to, stop smoking and shit like that. I'm trying, but I feel like that's the only thing that keep my head level going through all this shit. But other than that, I've been trying to be, very cautious with my health and try to take care of that like the best way possible.
Now, I want to tie up some loose ends and ask you some final questions in this interview and wrap things up here. But you mentioned you did attend and graduate a high school, but I don't think you put a name to it. Care to share the reference of that high school in this interview?
No, I don't need, no.
You also mentioned faith in this interview. Do you follow a religion at all? Care to share what religion that is?
Christian.
Is it a certain denomination under Christianity?
I was raised to be Baptist.
Okay. And that was from your mother, father, or both?
Both.
Okay. Now, if you feel like you've answered these next set of questions already, then you can skip it or add on to what you've already said. And if not, feel free to provide an answer, of course. But if you could turn back the hands of time, would you have done anything different in either of these situations? The passing of your father, the passing of your mother.
All right, so yeah, with my mother, I feel like that I should have, when she told me, son, could you lay with me, I should have laid with her and talked to her, let her know everything was gonna be all right. Yeah, that's one of those things I do regret is that I didn't lay down with my mom and just sit there and talk with her and go to sleep with her. Like I wish I could have did that. And the same thing with my father. I wish I could have just laid right there with him and let him know, I'm still with you.
What do you wish you knew before you lost either of your parents, if anything?
What I wish I knew?
Yeah. And going through that type of experience. There's some people watching this that have both of their parents in their life, haven't had a chance to go through what you've gone through. So I don't know if they can learn from your experience here, but is there anything you wish you knew before experiencing the death of either of your parents? The loss of a parent.
I just wish I knew how to handle business like a little better for them so they can have, the proper services and proper, everything. Um, I wish I knew the pain that come with the shit. Like I wish I, but you really don't. Like dealing with a parent loss, you're not gonna. Can't nobody even explain that to you if you ain't been through it yourself. So, but I just wish I would have knew what came with it and the ups and downs and everything like that. I wish I would have knew or like had a heads up or something.
Um, like I mentioned, there may be someone watching this with both of their parents in their life, haven't experienced the death of a parent. When it comes to kind of what you said, like, I wish there were services I knew about, this, that, and the third, having your business together, is there certain things you want people to know watching this that haven't experienced that? Certain things that maybe should be thought of ahead, or some sort of structure that should be done in advance before this type of event or
Just make sure y'all got y'all people headstone. That's the most respectable part about it. Make sure you got y'all people headstone. Make sure you lay them in the best places, and be prepared for the expenses.
What do you want people watching this interview to know about the loss of a parent, if anything, other than what you've already said?
Like, could you repeat the question? My bad.
What do you want people watching this interview to know about the loss of a parent?
I feel like they need to know that, I feel like they need to just, like, don't take nothing for granted. Don't take nothing for granted. Anything that your parents do for you, you better thank them. Like, it could be the smallest thing, the largest thing. Anything that your parent do for you is out of their way, out of their pocket. You don't realize it now because, you under their roof and shit like that. But, never take nothing for granted. Always thank your parents. Don't give them no hard time. Like, you don't give them no hard times because parents, they deal with way more shit than we think. We don't think of that because parents is here to shield us from how the world really is and shit like that. They here to shield you from it. So don't be too quick to rush out here and shit like that.
Now, circumstances could be different for everybody, but generally speaking, let's say somebody's watching this interview and they've just lost a parent themselves. Anything you would say to them?
Keep your head up through it all. Keep your head up. And, continue to pray to God or whoever you believe in. Continue to keep a level head because shit get worse down the line. But, just continue to keep a level head. Thank God for the good. Thank God for the bad, and just keep on.
My final question. Anything else you want to mention about the loss of a parent, or question I didn't ask people want to know about that? Anything you didn't say in regards to this experience you'd like to mention now? Anything that I didn't ask, perhaps, that...
No, I really don't have, no really closing remarks, but just, you don't know what you got till it's gone. Like, you really don't know what you got till it's gone. That could be used for a parent or one of your homies, grandmother, brother, sister. You don't know what you got till it's gone. So always cherish those moments, those special moments, like pictures, everything, whatever you can. Just cherish all those moments because, like, shit come to an end, sadly. In this world that we live in, shit come to an end.